Tyler, thank you for getting us cranked up and ready for the afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody. Couldn't be any more excited about the opportunity to spend just a little bit of our afternoons together. This is going to be a fast attack of 45 minutes discussing a topic that is very, very important to me. I'm going to be direct. I'm going to be honest. This may get slightly emotional for some people, but I believe it's needed. Right now, many people are facing tough times. And if there's one thing that I have learned in life, when you face tough times, you take it head on and you attack it. Because tough times don't last, but tough people do. And I have learned through my life battling adversity. I have learned through my coaching experience and through my corporate experience, 18 plus years as a coach with some of the highest performers to ever walk the face of the earth in sports and in business, that when you run into adversity, when you run into the storm, that's actually when you develop your greatest strength. And so what I wanted to do to really set the tone for our time together today was to have you connect to a period of time when you faced challenge and adversity. So I want everybody to think to themselves right now, a moment in time. It could be the toughest piece of challenge and adversity that you ever went through, or it could be something that you are currently going through right now. And I want you to think and connect emotionally to that challenge and adversity. Now what I would like for you to do is I want you to think. Think about something you love doing. And let's actually do this from a professional standpoint. I could do this personally, I could do this professionally. But what I want to share with you today is how we are going to get through challenge and adversity. And I'm going to teach you a couple of proven methodologies and a new mindset met with a challenge that if you accept it, not that you will become immune to adversity, not that you'll be able to eliminate adversity, but you will understand how to handle adversity. So all of you either thought of a period of time when you had gone through challenge and adversity, or you're currently going through challenge and adversity. Now here's what I want you to think about. I want you to just frame this professionally, not personally. We could do this through all aspects of life. But professionally, I want you to now think, when you are performing at your highest possible level, when you have the ultimate confidence, when you feel like nothing can stop you, nothing can break you, you are excelling. What is it? What are the disciplines? What are the things that you're doing that cause that? And here's what I want you to do. I want you to limit yourself to one. So for instance, if somebody were in sales, they would say, when I do X, it builds a pipeline for me to where the yeses and nos don't matter. And I have to do X this many times. So I want you to think, what is a habit or discipline, the habit or discipline that causes you to have confidence in what you do? If your challenge and adversity is related to your work, and if what you just wrote down, that habit and discipline, if it is true, that habit and discipline, when you follow through without worry, without fear, without doubt, without anything holding you back, when you decide to lean in, when you follow through with that discipline, if it creates momentum, if that's true, that discipline, because I know for me, if I'm facing challenge and adversity, and I am going to talk about challenge and adversity, just because this is the work that I do doesn't mean that I'm immune to challenge and adversity. Last Monday, I woke up and I realized I had been sitting in a period of time of extreme challenge and adversity. And as a result of that challenge and adversity, that's why I went to our team and I said, we are doing this emergency webinar. Not because I think you're the only one that's going through it, because I was going through it too. And so the conversation we're having, breaking this down, is the beginning of the process of how you're going to get through this. So I'm going to share with you how I got through it to actually flip and make last week one of the best weeks that we've had in years when at the beginning of the week, I wanted no part of it. And some of you, if you're being honest with yourselves right now, you don't want any part of the challenge and adversity. You don't want any part of the frustration. You don't want any part of the doubts or any part of the uncertainties. And it's hard to thrive and grow when we're in that mindset. But when we flip our mindset to doing the things that we know we need to do to win, that's where you build your confidence and actually silence the doubts, the fears, and the uncertainties that hold many people back. So now, you've written down that habit or discipline that causes you to be great. If your challenge and adversity is related to your work, I'm going to be tough on you for a minute, but this is important. And I'm not going to call anybody out today. So many of you, we've spent time together. You know, I'm not going to have you raise your hands, nod your heads. I want this to feel like this is one-on-one coaching. Here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to think to yourself, you just wrote down the habit or discipline that is most important. Many of you, I've asked you this question before. So if that habit and discipline would help you create positivity, momentum, an optimistic understanding that there are better times ahead, then wouldn't it be important for you to make sure that those habits and disciplines is something that you follow through and honor every single day? Not occasionally, not every couple of days, not one day and then you take a few days off, not 3 days in a row, not 4 days in a row, every day. So now I'm going to have you rate something for me. You wrote down that habit and discipline, yet many of you might be facing a challenge and adversity. Maybe that's the reason why you decided to join today. Or you said, I'm going to join today to learn something because things have been going good for me, but when I face challenge and adversity, I want the tools. Whatever the situation is, that's what we're going to provide for you today because I'm tired of people being held back. All I've ever known is challenge and adversity in my life, so all I do is run through it. And I want to teach you to be able to do the same because we can't allow ourselves to be our greatest challenge and adversity. We can't allow our own mindset to be the greatest obstacle that we face. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to rate yourself over the last 30 days. If you just wrote down the habit and discipline that causes you to have confidence and momentum, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on you showing up and doing that every day? So if that's the most important discipline, and I say over the last 30 days, how have you shown up? How would you rate yourself? Here's what I want you to now consider for me. You have 100% control over changing that answer, don't you? So if, for instance, you just rated yourself a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10 for the habit or discipline that you wrote down is most important for you to gain momentum and confidence, and you're currently a 4, a 6, a 7, a 2, a 3, you have 100% control over changing that. Here's the problem. The problem is the noise, the outside noise. The problem is that there are so many people that are doing this kind of work in the world today, we don't know who to listen to. We don't know what to think sometimes. We don't know how to be influenced. We don't know which research is right. Now, I'm going to share with you. I still have 2 coaches. I'm reading books every single day, but I've been doing this work for 18 years. I didn't change my biography on Instagram 2 weeks ago and claim that I'm a speaker, an author, and a coach. I've been doing this for 18 years. So there are proven methodologies that I know can help you win, especially going through challenge and adversity. I specifically work, and I'm often brought in more when there's challenge and adversity rather than when times are great. I can help people with the mindset to keep winning after they win, but a lot of times it's when there's challenge and adversity. And there's so much clutter in the world today. Let me give you an example. And if somebody read this, I apologize if you find this to be offensive, but this is part of the problem with society today. This is a headline from the Wall Street Journal from an article from last week. Can everybody read this? So let me go ahead and read this for you, and then I'm going to put it back up. The title of this article, in the Wall Street Journal, "Try Hard, but Not That Hard. 85% is the magic number for productivity. Take a look at this nonsense. So this is in the Wall Street Journal. This is the problem with the world today. You see, here's what happens. If you subject yourself to believing that on a daily basis, don't ever give 100%, don't ever go all in, I'm going to be at 85%. Most people, when they set a target, and this is just me being truthful, they don't follow through with the necessary discipline to hit that target. So if you believe this nonsense at 85%, most people are going to come in at 75 or 80%. So if adversity strikes, how is your pipeline going to look if you've been operating at 75 or 80% or maybe 60%? You will not be prepared for the challenge and the adversity. And that's where far too many people operate. People are losing sight of the right messaging. Now, I'm a big believer, those of you that have done coaching work with us, maybe some of you that are part of our Uncommon Live coaching program, you know that I hammer the concept of your prize fighter day. It's a tool that I have used, a mental training tool, to break down how you can win personally, professionally, and in service to others every single day. It's why I wrote the book, The Standard, and it's how I've helped champions win in sports and in business, and that tool I've been using for 15 years. You can go all in one day at a time. The moment you set yourself off the hook, you are preparing yourself to not be ready to handle adversity. So if some of you, there was a link to the adversity that you're currently facing and the lack of discipline that you had in your answer, then what I'm sharing with you is the truth. And for those of you who are actually excelling, but you're wanting the tools, you know what I'm sharing is the truth. When you face challenge and adversity, but you've lacked the discipline, we just don't know what to do when adversity strikes. But when you follow through with great discipline, then you know that you can win. Let me give you a real life example. Two Saturdays ago, I've had the opportunity to work in college football for over 10 years. I've been part of 5 national championships. And I say this very humbly. You never saw me with pads on a sideline. You may see me running up and down the sidelines, acting crazy, getting the guys motivated and having a great time with these young men that I love that make me better through these relationships. But you've never seen me with the pads on. But 5 national championships in 10 years. 2 weeks ago, the Kansas State Wildcats, we were ranked 15th in the country. We went into the University of Missouri, double-digit favorites, and we lose on a 61-yard field goal with no time left on the clock. It was the first time that the University of Missouri had beat a ranked opponent at home since like 1990. This was not a good loss. This was a game that you are not supposed to win. It's these types of games that destroy a team's season. So what did I decide to do? I said, we will take this head on and we will attack the adversity. What did I know? I know that these young men on this team, it's hard to deal with a loss like that. I don't enjoy any loss, but especially losses like that. But you must respond to the games that can become the strongest indicator of how the season will play out because they have the most adversity. Last year, I remembered we lost to Tulane the second game of the year, a game that we were not supposed to win. But we leaned into the adversity. We focused on our daily discipline. We focused on the consistency of our messaging, and we wound up Big 12 champions. Now, I'm not saying that this team is going to win a Big 12 championship. I never talk about those results. I know and have beliefs of what the team is capable of, but all I care is that the team, regardless of ups and downs, you lock in one play at a time, which is built by your work you put in every day. Just like for you, even if you don't like sports, what you do today manufactures the results that you're going to have next week and the week after and the week after. So your environment and your mindset and your daily behaviors must be in alignment with what it takes to attack adversity when it strikes. So I knew this team had it in them. I didn't like losing. They didn't like losing. We had to recommit and stay connected to the messaging. So last Saturday was our chance to respond. We played the University of Central Florida. They were right on the door of being a top 25 team, the fastest and most efficient offense in the country, over 600 yards per game. They came into Kansas State and we beat them 44-24. Now, I say 44-24. If you actually saw the score, it was 44-31. But Gus Malzahn called a timeout with like 2 seconds left, which was ridiculous, in order to score one more touchdown. So I got to have some fun with this. So it was 44-31, but we won that game. But we won that game not because those players decided we have to win a football game. They won that game because those players decided we know the mindset that it takes, and we all recommitted back to the disciplines one day at a time. So I wish I could tell you that the big goals you have for the end of the year, they will absolutely happen, even though you're in the midst of challenge and adversity right now. That I cannot tell you. But what I can tell you is if you make the choice starting today to change the number in terms of how you're showing up with your consistency and your discipline, you are going to win more. If your number does not change, and this is going to be direct, but I'm direct because I care that much. If your number does not change, you don't have the right to complain that the results aren't there. You don't have the right to complain about the adversity that you're facing, unless it's the type of adversity that is dealing with your health and things of that nature. But if we're talking about adversity that is business related, or we're talking about adversity where you're not as disciplined as you need to be with your workouts and in everything that you need to do on a daily basis, or you're not as disciplined as you need to be in your focus with your family to provide the energy for you to do what you know you need to do, then today's the day that you change it. And one of the goals that I have for you today, for each and every single one of you, is that 90 days from now, you disappear from your current self. My goal for you is 90 days from now. If anybody pays attention to the calendar, 90 days from now is what date? December the 25th. What if I told you you have an opportunity to give yourself the greatest gift you ever could have given yourself, to disappear from your existing self, and that will be the key to how you change your life. The person that you have become because of your discipline is why you are where you are right now. The periods of time where I'm falling short in terms of what I know I need to do, there's probably an area where there's room for improvement with something that's related to my discipline. It's the same for all of us. It's why I still have 2 coaches. And this is the hard truth that sometimes we need to hear. I'm going to read something fascinating to you, because here's what happens. We get on opportunities like this. And once again, I've been doing this for 18 years. So I know what's going on in your head. I know the challenges that you're facing. I face them too. But if you're willing to have a real conversation, then you've come to the right place. If you're willing to get real with yourself, then you've come to the right place. And for those of you that we've had the opportunity, some of you I've coached for years and years and years and years. Some of you have now built multi-million-dollar businesses when you were at a couple $100,000 when you started, that are right here on this webinar. And there was challenge and adversity that you had to go through in order to get there. There's many of you that are on this webinar going to catch the recording, athletes that I've won national championships with. They've been through challenge and adversity in order to get there, just like Kansas State. Don't know what the future will hold this year, but I can tell you they learned a lot about themselves by leaning into this adversity last week. Another team that faced a little bit of adversity last week, the Colorado Buffaloes, team that's been in the spotlight. Everybody's got an opinion on Deion Sanders. Here's what I would encourage you to do. I would encourage you, because I think this is important, go and watch, even though they lost, even though they got embarrassed, even though it wasn't good, and even though it might not be good against USC. Deion Sanders went into a program that had won 1 game and they've already won 3. That team's got a legitimate shot to now make a bowl game, which would have been unheard of to even think about before he got there. And whether you like Deion or not, if you think he's got too much flash, you don't like him bringing in Lil Wayne, I want you to think about the fact that Deion Sanders has been a winner no matter where he's gone. The problem is we don't think for ourselves and pay attention to the details of the amazing messaging and leadership that we have in this country. Go watch the 60 Minutes interview. It's 13 minutes with Deion Sanders. I want to read to you Deion Sanders' amazing words and then the nonsense that we deal with in the media with this country. They just don't want us to have the truth. They don't want to push us to be our best. The country and the media oftentimes wants to hold us back. We have to stop protecting ourselves. And one thing, those of you that do coaching with me, you know that we keep it real. You know that we're going to give you the tools necessary to win. Listen to what Deion Sanders says. And what he was referencing in the context of this interview, they were having this conversation about the fact that Colorado had only won one game the year prior. He had cleaned house, basically getting rid of all of the players. And Deion Sanders says this: we coach hard. We coach tough. We coach discipline. The reporter for 60 Minutes then says this: this is the problem with media in this country. He says, is this scorched earth policy good for college football? Helping young men become disciplined, helping young men not make excuses for themselves, getting rid of the players who aren't willing to do the work. Is this scorched earth policy good for college football? Deion Sanders said, they won one game last year. Truth is good for kids. We are so busy lying that we don't even recognize the truth anymore. We want everybody to feel good, and that's not how life is. We want everybody to feel good, and that's not how life is. So I want to be one of the voices of reason in your life, that if you believe that over the next 90 days, you could accept this challenge to disappear from your current self, and whether you've been making excuses that you don't have the discipline to work out, whether you've been making excuses you can't get a hold of your nutritional disciplines, whether you've been making excuses that business has been so hard and you're just going to wait for next year, I want you to say, enough is enough. And I want you to know that you don't have to do this alone. There are changes that you can make to your environment starting right now. So what did I do last Monday? Last Monday, I made a choice with that Kansas State football team. I didn't like that loss. It was a terrible loss. For those of you that know, I live in St. Louis, Missouri. I have friends that are part of that Mizzou football organization. I had plenty of friends sending me text messages about losing that game. That's one of the last games that I wanted to lose. I was pissed about that loss for many reasons. And I didn't like it. It had me angry. I work with 30 players in the NFL. That Sunday was also a really rough day for a lot of my guys on Sunday. It was just a bad football weekend all around. And then there were challenges that were going on in our business. And what I ended up doing, Anna, who's been with me for 8 years, 9 years, we've worked together. She's one of the critical pieces of our team. I cannot do what we do without Anna. I said to Anna, she made this meme for me years ago. And so I literally go and I said, Anna, I said, print this out and turn it into a bookmark for me. I needed this messaging. So I'm going to share these 5 things that are on this bookmark. And then as a gift for you joining today, part of the follow-up from this call, there's going to be a recording that's going to have a copy of this, a copy of also the 4 Ps of the standard that I'm going to reference. I've reviewed it in a previous webinar, so we're not going to review it all today, but it's going to be part of your solution. We're going to provide you this and the 4 Ps of the standard. Listen to the 5 ways to stay optimistic. Many people don't even know what to do. They don't know what to think when you're going through this period of time. So here's what I want you to do. Silence the noise. Don't listen to the Wall Street Journal articles that are saying to be comfortable in your life. You're not going to win that way. Don't listen to the 60 Minutes reporters that are saying, we don't live in a world that where we should teach discipline and cause people to be uncomfortable when they're underperforming. Choose to change your environment. Connect to your burn daily. Your burn is that underlying fire. Many of you, you've supported our podcast, The Burn. Tyler helped me create The Burn years ago. We're now on season 5 of The Burn. We're about to cross over our 200th episode. Connect to your burn every day. Why and purpose is not enough. You have to connect to the underlying burn that ignites your why and your purpose and causes you to be disciplined in your daily action, especially on the days that you don't want to do it. Number 2, you have to reframe. What many people don't realize is you have the ability to reframe the challenge and adversity. There's a principle in psychology called expectancy theory. That which you focus on expands. You focus on negative, you get more negative. You focus on positive, you get more positive. Reframe and focus on solutions, not problems. You guys don't have to write this down. We're going to send it to you. Surround yourself with positive people. Stop listening to the noise of comfort and contentment in society. I hope you all realize this vein popping out of my neck. Some of you have heard me say this before. This is not me yelling at you. This is my passion. I'm coming from you with love and passion because it's all I know. You can ask, I've worked with hundreds of college football players in winning these 5 national championships. I've been a part of 6 Super Bowl championships in the NFL in my 11 years working in the league. And I have never, you can ask a player, I've never yelled at a player under any circumstance, but they've seen this vein quite often. Number 3, once again, surround yourself with positive people. Win the day one day at a time and attack the process. One of the chapters in the book, The Standard, says, don't trust the process. I'm sick and tired of hearing everybody say, trust the process. Trusting the process is not enough. If you only trust it and you don't attack it, the number you wrote down earlier is not going to change. And number 5, I believe in you. Now go believe in yourself. Everything you need is already in you. Now, what does that mean? Everything you need is already in you. You just wrote down the discipline that when you do it, it builds confidence, it builds energy, it builds momentum, it builds a pipeline. So not only is everything that you need already in you, you already know the work that you need to do. You just might be, because of your challenge and adversity, in a period of time where you're choosing to not do the work that you need to do. That's why it's time to accept this challenge and disappear from yourself. Disappear from your current self, the current state, the current mindset. I've said for years that your success is not just about changing your habits, it's about changing the way that you think. So we have to change the environment. We have to change what you feed your mindset. You have to connect to that burn that lies inside of you. And you don't have to do this alone. You do not have to do this alone. So what happens if you change your discipline? What happens if you change your environment? You're also going to get a little handout called the 4 Ps of the Standard. This 4 Ps of the Standard, the first P is the problem. The second P is the planning. The third P is your performance. The fourth P is the payoff. Like I said, I've done a previous webinar on this. We have recordings that are available for the entire Standard webinar. But here's what I want to share with you. Many of you, and this is the adversity you wrote down, you're either currently in the middle of a problem, you just got through a problem is about to hit you, or you're winning, and your winning might become a problem. So you have to plan on a daily basis to follow through with what you just wrote down as the most important daily discipline every single day for 90 days, and your life changes. Not the 60% that you've been showing up, or the 50% or the 30%, just for 90 days. Now, I believe in 75 hard. 75 hard is a lot harder than just for 90 days choosing to change 1, 2, or 3 things. If you really want to amp it up, then my dear friend Andy Frisella, I'd lean into 75 hard. Now, I just finished phase 2 of 75 hard. Phase 3 starts on October the 29th. So I'm going to make sure that I'm with you in not recognizing myself on December the 25th. And I got to go through my birthday on 75 hard. I got to go through Thanksgiving on 75 hard. And I like pumpkin pie. And I like birthday cake. I'm not going to be able to eat any of it. But sometimes you have to make sacrifices to become the person that you want to be. So we got to limit these excuses. And it comes with every day saying, what's the problem that's in front of me? What's my plan to get through it? What am I going to do? The performance piece is doing something about it. And then when you get the payoff, remember, this is where people struggle the most. It's like when you start a diet and you lose a few pounds and the diet's going well, you all of a sudden decide to cheat. Why would you cheat when you just received confirmation that the discipline is working? So for the next 90 days, no self-talk, no cheating, no more of listening to the obstacles, no more of the comfort life, no more of the content life. Choosing to disappear from your current self. Are you willing to do that? Now, I know this is hard. I know this is not easy. I know I'm asking a lot of you, but I'm sharing with you, you do not have to do this by yourself. In 18 years of doing this type of coaching work, we have built 6 mental training tools that I've been using for 15 years. Inside of our Mental Toughness Academy, there's 2.5 hours of me teaching your Mental Toughness Academy, your Mental Toughness Playbook. It can give you the exact blueprint that it'll take for you to attack and to never be the same person again, to literally disappear from yourself. And I'm going to teach you what I call a never do it again list after I walk through something with you. And this never do it again list, if it's the only thing that you take away from our call together today, the never do it again list will change your life. But you got to walk through this with me before I give you this gift of the never do it again list. The access to that academy is part of our Uncommon Live coaching program. I have 2 coaches. It's not that I don't believe in you, but I've never met a champion who goes about this kind of work to say, I will change my life, and my goal is to disappear from my current self, and they do it by themselves. There are many members of our Uncommon Live program that are on this call. There's over 200 people that are live with us right now. I think the number was as high as 250. There's over 500 people from around the world that registered. We have 8 spots that are left for our Uncommon Live coaching program. 8 spots. I promise you that the tuition for Uncommon Live, if you go to joinuncommonlive.com, joinuncommonlive.com, it will blow your mind how cheap the cost is in order to have access to us working together over these next 90 days, which is then going to change the foundation of your life. The Mental Toughness Academy by itself is worth more than the annual tuition for Uncommon Live. To work with me one-on-one is $9,500 a month. I love our Uncommon Live coaching program. That's why you're going to see when you go and click that link to apply now, you won't believe the cost of this program. 8 spots that are left. That's it. Because this is a small, uncommon group. And what's uncommon is that all of us, including me, we lean into being challenged. We lean into fighting for that next step. We lean into these tough conversations. We lean into the hard conversations that Deion Sanders wants to have and say, we're right there with you. We don't want to listen to the media. We don't want to listen to the noise. We want to believe in each other. We want to stay optimistic. We want to encourage everybody to stay connected to the burn. We want you to live those prize fighter days, which we can help you build inside of joinuncommonlive.com. And so I would love for you to join us. Literally 8 spots left. That's it. So you'll have the opportunity to join a member of our team to discuss the opportunity further. Joinuncommonlive.com, hit the apply button. One of the things that we added, and I do this every Monday, so there's sessions with me twice a month for an hour, plus Sean O'Brien. We now have Monday Ignition. Every Monday for 5 to 7 minutes, I go live with you to light up your week, just like we're doing right now, to limit the excuses, to limit the doubts, so that we cannot be like everybody else in the world that says, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Let's disappear from my current self. I'm going to do that. And you say, I'm all in. But then there's no accountability. There's no pattern of behavior. There's no connection. There's nothing that allows you to say, I have somebody with me. I can do this. We do it for you every Monday. And we're going to give you the accountability, and we're going to ignite it every single Monday for you. Plus messaging that comes out during the week and burn episodes that are fed to your email. And you're going to have access to over 50 hours of content and the 2.5 hours of that Mental Toughness Academy, which by itself is worth the cost of the program. And then once we start to change, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take out a piece of paper now. I want you to write up at the top, never do it again list. I want you to write never do it again list. So many of you have been doing this a long time, as I've mentioned a couple of times. I know what happens. We get excited, we commit, we say, I'm going all in. And then as soon as we hang up, the old behaviors come back into your realm. That's why Tyler's going to make sure you get this. Make it a bookmark. I read it every morning now, right? So here I am. I'm one of the top coaches in the world that does this kind of work. I say this very humbly. I'm actually going to let you in on a little secret. Please do not post this anywhere on social media because the list has not been announced live yet. It has not been announced live. It's going to come out sometime in the probably next week or 2 weeks. The USA Today just named me one of the top 5 mental and performance coaches in the world, along with Brendan Burchard, Ed Milet, Tim Grover, Mel Robbins, and myself, one of the top 5 in the world. And I don't say that to impress you. I wasn't going to share that with you, but I'm deciding to share that with you for this reason, because there's too many people that changed their damn bio 2 weeks ago. I want to help you. Our team wants to help you. Here comes the vein again. I'm passionate about helping you. So I know that if you become more disciplined and commit to changing your current self, it's going to change your life. If you print this out as a bookmark and put it in front of yourself, what's going to happen? You're going to change the way that you think every day. When you decide to live to the 4 Ps every single day, which is why this book became a Wall Street Journal bestseller in its first week, and when you create a never do it again list, you're going to change how you think for the rest of your life. And when we pull away from the media and everybody that's trying to tell us to live this comfortable life, and I'm saying to you, this is love and passion. Silence the noise. Be more disciplined. Change your environment. And start writing down the things you know need to become unacceptable in your life. The things that you know, like, I have to stop doing them. We all know there's a handful of things, each and every single one of you. If I said, okay, right now, boom, you wrote it down, never do it again list, write down yours. You'd probably have 5, 6, 7 things immediately. Mine is 14 things. I read these every single morning. I actually keep them on my phone, and I keep it here as a reminder as well. This never do it again list, it's simple things. Listen to this. After I completed 75 hard the first time, I wrote down one of them: never again overindulge unnecessary foods excessively. This extreme lifestyle is not for everyone. I love chocolate chip cookies. Now I may occasionally have a chocolate chip cookie, but I'm not eating 6. I love pizza. I don't need to eat a whole pizza. I could have a couple of pieces just to get the taste on my lips and then have a salad. But I've become pretty darn disciplined lately because I keep repeating 75 hard that I really don't even crave those things anymore. It's amazing the power of your mind and your discipline and how it changes your energy and your passion. There's all kinds of things that are on here. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. I remind myself every day, don't forget that. That's a mindset. Never again say yes to things that don't energize me. How many of you say yes to things that don't energize you, and it actually depletes your mindset and causes you from being disciplined? How about this one? Many of you wouldn't think, right? Here I am, I've had some recognition for being a coach and doing this work and won championships. Allow someone to hold me back or have a silent voice. So there's periods of time where, whether it used to be my father, where I sought his approval for 43 years of my life when I didn't need it, I allowed him to carry my voice. It's tragic that my father passed away last year. But the reality is, I now am no longer seeking the approval of somebody's approval that I didn't need. It was hard, but I'm not going to let anybody do that to me again. And so imagine if you create this never do it again list where these patterns of behavior are eliminated, and this becomes part of you disappearing from your current self. So these are simple takeaways, aren't they? I know I'm coming with passion and energy, and it might seem like, wow, this is a lot to this conversation. Be more disciplined. Change your environment. And create a never do it again list. So when you think of things that you say to yourself, I have to stop this because it holds me back. And if I commit to being more disciplined over the next 90 days, if I make changes in my environment, reading this bookmark, committing to the 2 minutes a day that it takes to connect to this 4 Ps process. This takes 2 minutes a day. It's literally a bookmark in my daily journal. So here's my daily journal, okay? You guys can see, here it is. So I'm not just making these things up. There's the little bookmark. You change your environment, and I go through it every single day. And I say, what's the potential problem that I'm going to face today? What's the planning? Where do I need to be disciplined today? What does the work look like? And then the performance piece, I follow through with the work. And then when the work is completed and I receive a payoff, I remind myself the payoff is the confirmation that the discipline is what's needed to reach your next level. So I will not be seduced by success. All of you try this for a week. You're going to start to feel momentum. Don't be seduced by success. Go one more day, and then go another day, and then go another day, and then go another day. As you get through these days, if you decide to be one of those individuals who grabs one of those final seats for Uncommon Live, you're going to get hit with some Monday ignition. You're going to have coaching with me every single month, twice a month. You're going to have coaching with Sean O'Brien, another one of the top coaches in the world. And we're going to help you get through this 90 days because you signed up here for a reason. You signed up here for a reason. As I mentioned, either some of you are dominating right now, you feel good, and you fear that adversity is coming. I hope today has prepared you for the storm that might be in front of you. Some of you might be right in the middle of it, and you're challenged, and you have fear, and that voice of the media is loud right now. You listen to those interviews of 60 Minutes individuals posing questions to cause us to say, well, shouldn't we live in comfort? Silence it. This group, it's called Uncommon for a reason, because thinking this way, it's not normal. Thinking this way is not common. You attacking your next level and not recognizing yourself in 90 days is an uncommon level of thinking that maybe you've never thought about. You do not have to do this alone. I'm not telling you you have to sign up, but I think you at least owe it to yourself to have a conversation with our team. Go to joinuncommonlive.com, hit the apply button, and have a conversation with our team. And one of the things that I think is amazing about this Uncommon Live group, you all make me better. Many of you are members of Uncommon Live that have joined us today. We just had a call this morning, and I see so many of you. That's how much we love attacking together. I used to do boot camps 15 years ago. You see all these events that people do all the time. I was doing boot camps, live events 15 years ago. I told you, I didn't just change my bio and start doing these things. And so in 2016, I told myself that I wasn't going to do another boot camp because the last one I'd gotten busy doing other things in college football and the NFL and our corporate work. It had taken a hold of my calendar. And so I had said, well, we're not going to do another boot camp. And the last boot camp in 2016 had Jerry Rice. It had one of the Navy SEALs that took out bin Laden. It had Tyron Woodley when he was the welterweight champion of the world. So I was like, how am I ever going to beat that lineup? And it was our Uncommon Live group that said, Ben, get uncomfortable again. You love doing these events. Do another boot camp. We got another boot camp coming up in 2 weeks, October 8th through the 10th in Vegas. And next year's event is already planned in Puerto Rico. So I say thank you to the Uncommon Live program. It's not just me sharing ideas. It's you guys providing the feedback so we can build an environment that causes you to win. And all I want you to do is win more. I want you to recognize that if you're going through that storm and it seems tough right now, the reason why I wanted to do this emergency webinar, because tough times don't last, but tough people do. And what if I shared with you the challenge and adversity that you're going through right now, as tough as this might be on your ears, it's exactly what you need to be going through right now. Because whether you feel it, you understand it, it's the strength that you're building right now that's going to give you the greatest strength to become the champion in whatever it means in your life to be a champion. I had a burn episode today with a dear friend of mine. He's one of the top financial leaders in the world today. He has a top 5 organization for a Fortune 100 financial firm. I've coached him for years. I coach him. I coach all of his leaders, huge impact in their organization. And his big goal in life is to be part of 3 Hall of Fames. And they're different Hall of Fames based upon his personal life, his parenting life, his professional life. I can't wait for you guys to hear this episode. And I share this with you to say this. He lives in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, this tiny little town where people can say, aren't you supposed to be in LA or Chicago? People allow their environment or their circumstance to hold them back. People allow the adversity to hold them back. Instead, he decides to say, doesn't matter my environment, doesn't mean the challenge, I'm going for 3 Hall of Fames. And Hall of Fames means you have to be a great person of integrity, a great person who loves others, a great person who does what they say they're going to do, And I can promise you he's going to show up in all 3 Hall of Fames. What I want for you is to live a Hall of Fame life for you, whatever that means, on your walk and your journey. And I believe to get there, you probably need to change yourself over these next 90 days. You probably need to reintroduce yourself and give yourself the greatest Christmas gift you ever could have given yourself. And that's for you to disappear from your current self starting today, one day at a time, to stack the days, to become your very best self. We have the tools to show you how to get there. Today was just a way for you to learn some of the things you can change immediately. Change that number on your discipline score. Change your environment by printing out that bookmark and silencing the noise and staying optimistic, and start using your never do it again list. Timing might not even be right for you to grab one of those final 8 spots for Join Uncommon Live. Join in 6 months, join in a year, join when the timing is right for you if we have availability and we reopen registration. But what I care about the most is that you decide to take action today. Don't allow this to just be 45 minutes for something you decided to sign up for on the internet. Know that I do this because I have love, passion, and care for your opportunity to take it to the next level, even if this is the first time that we've ever met. We are in this fight together. You are not alone. It's an own it mentality, which is one day at a time. You are getting stronger and tougher through your adversity. And don't ever forget that everything you need is already in you. I look forward to the opportunity to continue to attack with you. Now we go.